Hey everybody, this is Dr. Tom Carr, aka Dr. Stoxx of drstoxx.com. Your one-stop shop for all things trading. We help people make money in the markets. And if you're interested in joining me and a bunch of great people trading together in the live options room, you can go over to drstoxx.com. That's drstoxx.com. Been in business every day since 2002. Go over to the subscribe menu, scroll down to the live options room, and if you want to add on our flagship live service, the live trading room, you can do that at a 40% discount. If you're looking for something more like an email newsletter with my stock picks in them, you can go to the stock pick advisories. Okay, now I'm going to do a couple of things that I don't normally do with our group today. I'm going to go over to Twitter, and this is the Dr. Stoxx. What do you call it? What do you call your Twitter profile, Twitter account? The Dr. Stoxx Twitter account. And you can see from my profile that I don't have a huge account, but I don't follow very many people, only 140 people. And most of these people that I'm following, this is an account I use only for stock trading, stock and option trading. I have a whole separate account for personal things. But the folks that I follow, by and large, offer to Twitter some valuable content with respect to option flow. Sometimes they call out an unusual trade. Sometimes they call out, a whole bunch of big people are buying a whole bunch of calls in Microsoft, for example, or something unusual, right? If a name that rarely gets any major call flow suddenly gets 1,000 contracts traded, they'll call those things out. I just want to show you a few folks to follow, and let me see if I can find them because I haven't actually set this up ahead of time. Elon Musk doesn't call out option flow. Here's one. Cheddar Flow is a professional option flow service. I'm going to introduce you to Black Box Stocks. That's the one I use, but I have used Cheddar Flow before. I can recommend them. They do have lots of interesting data that is also offered by Black Box Stocks. They all pretty much do the same thing. I think Cheddar Flow is maybe a little bit cheaper than Black Box Stocks, but it's only options. Black Box Stocks also gives you unusual trades in shares of stocks themselves. And there's a great Discord community that calls out trades in real time. So I do recommend Black Box Stocks, but Cheddar Flow is a good second choice, in my opinion, if you find Black Box Stocks a little too expensive. Let me see if I can find somebody else here. Of course, they've all disappeared. All the guys that just when I wanted to... There is a guy named, he goes by the name of Jesus. Jesus something. Let me see if I can just find him here. Well, there is Jesus Christ. That's not the one I'm thinking of. It's Wall Street Jesus. That's it. Wall Street Jesus. Where is he? Wall Street. There. No, that's not him. No. Anyway, if you find a guy named Wall Street Jesus, then you know what? Let's do this. I should have done this from the beginning. Let's just go to the folks I'm following, and we'll scroll down from here. These are all people that I only follow, people that offer valuable content. They're not trying to sell you anything. They're just out there doing their thing. Here, Flow God is a good one. So this account will call out unusual option flow, typically calls. I don't really see them doing much in the way of puts that kind of stand out for whatever reason. Maybe the volume is really high. Maybe it's a stock that's been kind of quiet and all of a sudden everybody's buying calls. Maybe it's a combined call flow with big movement in the price, right? So pay attention to these. Here's an unusual trade, $200,000 call buyer in Unity Software. So that's a fun stock to trade. Maybe keep an eye on that one. Here's another one for Unity, $418,000. I don't know that stock. SOFI, here's our friend SOFI, $1.1 million call buyer in SOFI today. And you have to look at the details here. But if you go over to Black Box Stocks or Cheddar Flow and type in SOFI, you'll find the exact trade that he's talking about. And you'll see whatever everyone else is trading in SOFI today. All right, so Flow God's a good follow, and Cheddar Flow is a good follow. Let me see if I can find. Most of these have to do with stocks. ETF, no. Mike, no. Bullflow. This is the other one I was thinking of. This is the other service I'm thinking of, and it's new, and I haven't. I guess I did take a trial of this one just to kind of see what it's about. The thing I like about Bullflow is that A, it's a little bit cheaper than Cheddarflow even, and B, they have this ranking system. So Black Box Stocks does not rank according to an algorithm the various kinds of alerts that you'll get, but it does have alerts. So if you get a typical alert, it's an unusual trade to begin with. You know, you don't have to do any further research. But then if you get an alpha gold alert, you only get maybe 2 or 3 of those a day. Those are really ones you want to pay attention to. So I like that fact of black box stocks. But Bullflow will give you a numerical value from 0 to 100. And like anything over 70 is pretty high. Means that's a very unusual trade, worth paying attention to. I like that feature of Bullflow. It might be worth getting a subscription just for that feature alone. And it's like $30 a month. It's not that expensive. Okay, let me just see if I can find one more guy here for you, and if not, we will move on. Where are you, Jesus? Where are you, Jesus? Wall Street Jesus. Anyway, if you search for Wall Street Jesus, you okay. Well, here's another guy, the 7-star Mike. He's actually connected with Bullflow that I just showed you, and he'll call out some plays in real time, right? So he doesn't post very often, right? About once a week, but it's worth paying attention to his like teledoc. That was a week ago. That he uses Bullflow to make those determinations. So follow him and see if you like what he's talking about. And if you do, you probably would be a good candidate for Bullflow. All right, let's jump over to Black Box Stocks. So Black Box Stocks does have an equities wing, and you'll get a price alert, so unusual price movement. And the thing I like to do, I don't do this very often, but if I see a stock that I already like for whatever reason, or I'm interested in for whatever reason, and I see it's triggering a price alert, like Intel, right? Intel is triggering a big price alert just a few minutes ago, in fact, 25 minutes ago. Looks like it was a big upside jump. There was news out about Intel and AMD that hit the wires. We're in AMD, so we're okay with that. But Intel went up even further. And if you see a price alert on something like Intel, then you jump over to options, and then you say, okay, well, let's see what the option traders are doing with Intel in the last few minutes. So there's of course, a lot of big call flow, and I have my call flow set to $100,000 or more. We might even bump that up since Intel is so well traded to 200,000. And the time right now is 229. So here's a trade at 228, 468,000 calls at the ask going out to this Friday. So this is just more of a day trade, right? Somebody just sort of scrambling to catch this little pop in the price. Here's one going out to next Friday. Here's one going out to the 3rd Friday of the month. Here's one going out to January. Way up at the 40 strike. Price right now is 35 and change. He's going up to the 40 strike, and he bought 2,000 of those. That's pretty significant, right? Someone's betting 670,000 that Intel will be at least 43.35 by January. I think it probably would get there based on what it's been doing lately. And right alongside that, there's one going out to just November at the same strike, and this one is 1.2 million. And that came in, well, this was a little bit earlier, but it looks like it's 2:15, and the alert came in a little bit before 2. So any trade after 2 o'clock is in response to that price movement, and you can see people are putting some big money in there. 1.8 million, 235,000, 1.2 million, 670, 463, and they're all calls. I do have puts on, but No puts are coming through. These are all calls. Nobody's shorting into this rally in Intel. So, see, that information right there is not anything you would get by simply looking at the chart. Yeah, you can see the price movement. You can see volume of shares coming in. That's important. Nothing wrong with that. But this is kind of like, what are the big guys doing with respect to this move? Are they actually buying it? Are they shorting it? Are they standing aside? No, they're actually buying it right now. That's interesting, right? That's information you wouldn't normally get. Okay, so let's go back. We'll scroll this back down to 100,000, and we'll see if we can find something unusual going on here. So the other thing I like to look at over here, here we go. Over here in this series of alerts, I have only three things coming through: an unusual option flow alert, insider trading alert, because that doesn't happen all that often, and these alpha gold alerts. Alpha gold alerts are like the gold standard of option alerts. Black box Stoxx has a great algorithm for determining what should be alerted. What I'm the guy that is on the receiving end of those alerts. What does black box Stoxx think is important for me to know about the option flow? And then if it's unusually important, they'll send me an alert. And if they send me an alpha gold alert, it is extremely unusually important. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the chart of BABA since we got an alpha gold alert on that one. So this is what I would typically do, right? If I see a gold alert like that, I'm going to go over to the chart and say, hey, is this something, do I like the setup here? Is this a good entry for me? Should I maybe take a swing trade on this since it is getting very, very unusual flow on the call side of the equation? Now, this is a bullish chart. There's nothing wrong here in terms of holding these shares of BABA, but it's not the kind of setup I would want. I want either a fresh breakout, which took place on that candlestick right there, right? Here is your long-term consolidation. There's your fresh breakout. That's where I would want to buy. And if I can't buy the fresh breakout, I'm going to buy something like a little pullback. And there aren't really many pullbacks. There's a little one right here, a couple of bars down, and then it went back up the next day. And there's a little sideways flag forming right here. But I would be looking for that kind of setup, not for one that's still going, it's already in breakout mode and there's no real pullback here and there's no sideways consolidation, not yet. So I'm not interested in the chart, but that's what I would be looking for, right? Okay, so we're long IONQ shares in the live trading room, and the fact that this came through a $200,000 sweep at the 60 strike for November, paying $1,000 each for those, about 200 of them. So I'm interested in IONQ. So I just have to click on the ticker symbol and I'll get every trade in IONQ above, what do I have it at? 100,000? Yeah. And right now it's looking kind of mixed, right? So we've got two puts, two put buys and two call buys, and both of them they kind of balance each other out. Now, if we go down, maybe we see what's going on underneath the surface here and take that filter off. Yeah, we can see there's a few more out there. There's an 18,000 call, 19,000 call, 17,000 call, not really outweighing the puts that much. So I would have to say from the option flow right now, not as strong as the price movement. So the price movement got off to a huge, great start. And like a lot of these growth names in the afternoon here, they're starting to cool off a little bit. But it's the first move after a sharp pullback to the 21 EMA. Probably will get more. I'm also interested in snow. So snow is one that we were in a little bit ago. Now this looks better, right? All calls, no puts. They're all kind of on the smaller size, however. So nothing too exciting there just yet, but it is a good indication that the market is leaning more bullish than bearish, and you can see a nice 5-minute price chart heading higher. Okay, here's some Chinese names, Baidu, right, just like the BABA. What else do we have going on? Now, this is interesting. FTK, not a company that I know, and I don't normally see this don't normally see this ticker symbol. Looks like it had a big spike from 15 to 15.55. Probably some news out there on this company. Nothing real big here going on, but it is consistent. The sweep, block, sweep means that these are big size orders relative to the open interest of that particular contract. And when somebody is desperate to get in, they'll jump on whatever price the market will give them. And that's usually when it goes far above open interest. The other thing we can do, this is a feature I don't think you'll find in the other ones. You can click on these individual trades. Let's click on this top one here, and you'll get some historical data. How many contracts of that particular strike and expiration have been traded in the last couple of weeks? Right? You can see not a lot. A little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, and then boom, really big, way above open interest. Open interest is this blue bar here, way above open interest. That's interesting to note. Somebody sees something in this company going out to, what is the expiration date here? Going out to December. And it's a 15 strike, so it's actually a slightly in the money, but they're paying $250, $260 for those, and it's only 50 cents in the money, so they're seeing a price of about $17 to break even on the trade, and I'm sure they're hoping for more than that by December. All right, I don't know FTK. What is Flowtech Indu? I don't know it. I recognize the ticker symbol, but I've never traded it. Haven't traded it in a long time, at least. So you're going to see a lot of Google. You're going to see Microsoft, Tesla, Nvidia, Apple every day with lots of volume. And if you go over to the bullish flow, you know, Nvidia's at the top. No surprise there. Micron, Intel, Lulu is a little bit of a surprise. Fourth on the list because it was so beaten down, has been for a long time. I don't know what's going on in that company. And then if you go over to bearish flow, top of the list is Tesla. Now that's not necessarily a bearish note for Tesla because these are people that might be long shares, but they're hedging against a pullback. And I think Tesla's due a bit of a pullback. They also have some delivery numbers coming out. I'm not sure exactly when. I think it's this week, and they're probably hedging against that. Okay, so that's just a brief overview of how you can follow some people on Twitter that will give you interesting option information throughout the trading day, and how you can use one of these flow services to find trades that might be of real interest to you that wouldn't have shown up otherwise on your radar. Okay, so I've got a list here of greens. I haven't updated them today, so there may be some on here that aren't doing very well. Reddit is certainly not doing very well. It's down 11%, and this is a classic example of one that was on my list when it hit the pink zone right here and reversed. It looked like a nice little pullback, 4 or 5 bar pullback, started to get follow through the next day, and then reversed at the 21, and it's all downhill from there. I'm going to take this off my list because it's no longer a viable candidate, but and that's a lot of volume coming out, and we're well below the 50 period moving average, and it's down near the lows of the day when a lot of things are up at the highs of the day. And yeah, it is a no-go zone for now. And this is a very good illustration too, because I say this a lot. When I'm looking for a pullback, I'm looking for something that looks more like this. Nice, soft landing at a key moving average, or maybe down here at the pink zone of the LRC, the linear regression channel. And then it starts to slowly take off to the upside. That's usually where you get your nice sustained swing trade heading higher. When the landing looks more like this, almost a straight shot down, then you get a little bounce, but I wouldn't trust that bounce. I had it on my list. I wanted to see where it went, and it was breaking out of the top, the RTL over the tops of those pivot highs. But yeah, I'm not surprised at all to see a little further down. So it goes off a list. UMAC. So I had this one. I actually got out of it this morning. It wasn't an official trade in either room, but I did make mention of it last week because it came to the attention of my pro trading group. I check in with those guys 2 or 3 times a week, and we share ideas off of each other. And couple of guys actually were talking about this one as a potential big recipient of a contract. Anyway, I made a buck on it, right? I bought it down here at the lows yesterday. I sold it near the highs this morning. Kind of a lucky timing on my part, as I probably wouldn't have been watching it otherwise, but it just happened to be on the page in my trading platform where it was. I could see it, and but it's a no-go zone for right now, right? This is a rejection, and it headed lower. This is another rejection after clearing out a bunch of highs and coming right back down again. It's off the list. Now, we just saw SOFI with some good call flow, but it is still in pullback mode. And I don't like the fact that it's now below the 21 and below the 50. I'm not going to take it off the list yet because I do want to see where this goes. It could reverse maybe by the end of the day and get back up to a big green stick tomorrow, but right now it's not a buy. Bizun is one from my my momentum letter, and I just like this setup coming into the new week and the new month. And this is what I'm talking about, right? Soft, rounded bottom, pullback, and this looks to me like it wants to go higher. And so if you're in Bizun in my letter, then hang on, because it looks like it's setting up for a nice move from here. Dave is one I like fundamentally, and I mentioned this in my IBD Live appearance on Friday and pumped it up like crazy. And I think it does have a very good future, but it's not triggering yet a buy, right? So I was on the show on Friday, and when it closed down below the 21 and just below the 50 period moving average, I said, I didn't say to the show because it was too late, but I said to our room, we got to watch this. It's not really setting up the way I would like it to. There's a nice little pullback right there, but didn't see follow through. And then it lost the 21, then it lost the 50, and it went down even further yesterday. And there's no real recovery today, although it was nice and green earlier today. It's just one to watch, right? One to watch. We'll see where that goes. UNH, I like the way this one is scalloping higher, right? This is a valuation play. It's a recovery play. It's not momentum. It's not a breakout. It's not anything like that. But this is this is sideways consolidation, modest, soft landing, breakout, rounded bottom. Rounded bottoms are always better than V, right? V can be nice when you catch the bottom, but when you're looking for something that's a reliable entrance into a swing trade, look for rounded bottoms, not V bottoms. And we probably will be. No, wait, I think we're long. We're long calls in the option room as of this morning. Microsoft is looking better today, but it's really been sluggish. It's in this very tight and narrow trading range. But the good news is that the lows are getting higher, and it's starting to get a little bit of traction finally. 4 green days in a row when the market itself hasn't been that strong. So that's good to see. We don't have any shares at Microsoft. I have long-term shares, but we don't have any swing trading shares. We went instead with in the other room, in the live trading room, we went with Avgo today, which is also nicely set up. I'll show you that in a minute. We're long AMD. We're long NVIDIA. Laser is one that was in the IBD live show, and just kind of hugging the 21 here, not doing much of anything. We're long Apple. We're long PLTR. In either one of the rooms, and I can't remember which room is which, right? We're long IONQ. Here's the pullback. Here's the setup. It's a little bit sharp, frankly, and we probably got in a little too early, but it was so strong, had price alerts, had volume call flow alerts, and then it started raising higher, and I thought this is going to break out of the pullback, and then it pulled right back down again. We'll see. We'll hang on to it for a few days. Our stop is down here below the 21. RGTI is a very good quantum computing. It's really the only quantum name that I would trust for a longer term swing trade. It's not an investment. Neither is IONQ. IONQ is number 2. RGTI is number 1. And you can see how much stronger of a chart this is, right? This is a nice soft pullback, or actually more of a bull flag. Nice looking setup right there, although it's off the highs of the day. Futu was in my IBD live show, and I like what's happening here. So long pullback, but at a very soft angle, right? No extreme movement to the downside there. Just nice soft pullback and kind of ishy rounded bottom, and a nice green bar today. coin is still, I think, yeah, it's right at. It's not really under. It's not under resistance, but it's right at some resistance, and we'll see where that one goes. I've had some bad luck trading coins, so I'm kind of gun shy about it, but I can call that out in the room. I do like Snow. I do have some shares still of SNOU from a previous trade, and I have long-term shares in Snow as a multi-year investment. And I like that it's in breakout mode today. So this looks really good. Probably one of the better pullback. So here's the thing with this one, right? You've got this power gap on earnings, which is excellent if and only if that gap does not close. The gap is nowhere near closing. In fact, the top of that gap is pretty much a really good place of support. We've got a nice rounded bottom, right? Soft pullback into the 21, rounded bottom, push, push, push. And today is moving day. I like Snow. Perfect setup. First day of breakout. Good time to buy it. AFRM, big down yesterday. Gap up and it's holding pretty good today, but let's give it a couple of days. That's a sharp pullback on heavy volume. I like AFRM as in that space, right? The fintech space. AFRM, SOFI, and Dave are the three that I like in that space. And I wouldn't mind getting long AFRM, but I have a feeling this is going to be an ABC pullback, and all we've got is A right now. We need a little bit of a B bounce and then another C wave down. We'll see where that goes. So Carvana, I'm regretting not calling this because I had it in my IBD Live, mentioned it, and now it's doing exactly what I thought it was going to do, which is a nice continuation cup and handle pattern. It hasn't broken out yet. It did look like it was going to 2 this morning. It's right up against the edge. It is a buy right here, but I'm not in it. I'm not. So I kind of want to see where it goes. And MicroStrategy, so we've been playing MSTX. It was up on news this morning. It's holding that space, that gap open quite nicely. It's above the 21. There is a falling wedge, which this one has been trying to get out of, and I think it may have finally done that. Yeah, there's your falling wedge. It broke out, and then it just kind of trickled down in a. There's a name for that, where you have like drapes coming down the curtain rod, and then you had the big move on what is today, Wednesday, Monday. Hold more or less yesterday, and today is follow through day. So MicroStrategy may be back on track, and Bitcoin is getting back on track. And then we're long QS calls in this room. We bought them yesterday on the dip. We're enjoying this nice move today, and yeah, cup and handle can't beat that kind of setup. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you go. God bless everybody. I'll be back in the room after I produce the video. We'll trade the rest of the day together. We've got over an hour. And again, if you have a chart request for me, leave the ticker symbol and tag my handle in the Discord room, and I'll take a look at those in just a bit. Bye for now. God bless.